Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a while since I've made a video. Apologize for that. I've been out for work for a little while, and then when I came back, I've had stuff that I worked on, but really nothing too interesting. Until this showed up just the other day. So this is a USB quick charge power module that I have installed in my couch. Two USB ports on the front, and then on the input on the back, I think it's like 12 to 32 volts. One sec. I've got another one somewhere. It's one of these. So, little lid goes with the cover. Like I said, two USB ports on the front, and then the power inputs on the back. I just drilled out a couple holes in the front of my couch and installed two of these, one on either side. And the one on the left side works just fine, but this one is bad, and it has like a dead short on it. So just to test that, let's just show you real quick here. Set this to volts. Make sure you can see it. If I test my little power supply I've got here, 12.16 volts. And then just give me 1 second, I'm going to solder these wires to the input of this, and then you can see that this is not actually working. There you go. It's very fiddly, but finally got those on there. Plug my power supply back in, and if I test the voltage again, it's going to come up with nothing. It just has a dead short on it. So I'm on the input for it, and it's just 0. So this thing is drawing so much current that the voltage dropped to nothing, or the overcurrent protection on the power supply kicked in. So I just have nothing going to this. So I'm just gonna unplug this. Let's unsolder these leads again and start looking at what might be the culprit. And I've just kind of briefly looked it over, and nothing really sticks out. The capacitors aren't bulging. Just start lifting things up here. Capacitor, looks like an inductor, another inductor on the other side, another capacitor, and then a fat diode. So if I look at this, the diode is, of course, pointing towards positive. There's no like burn mark or chip on it or anything. Looking at the actual primary power management chip that's in there, so you can zoom in and kind of see what it is, although I can't really make that out. 1 sec, just move it towards me. IP65251. Actually, I feel like I have one of those chips. I bought a whole bunch of like IP chips a while ago. So that's the power management IC. Like I said, the capacitors don't look bulged. That power management chip doesn't look burned or cracked or anything. Same with on the other side. Input capacitor right here in between the two terminals. This is just a smoothing capacitor on the output, the 16 volts. Each one of them has a smaller surface mount capacitor below it. Can I move that? That's the surface one looks fine. Nothing there. The inductor doesn't look like it's gotten hot and melted through the heat shrink or anything. So this is kind of weird. It's just completely dead. Everything, like dead short, and then nothing is really working on it. So I think we can start with maybe testing this diode. Make sure I don't have a short on it or anything like that. Since it's going to the negative terminal, I'll just stick a probe in there. Nothing that way. Nothing that way. Oh, I should probably set it to diode mode instead. So that is open loop. Nope, there it goes. 1.71. And we swap the leads. Oh, you can't see the multimeter right now. There you go. So there's 1.71 in the other direction, and this one, oops. Yeah, open loop. So, nothing looks like it's touching. Even the surface mount ceramic capacitors, they don't look like they've cracked or anything like that. Nothing on this side. Let us go ahead and start removing the two output capacitors. Actually, let's test it and see what the resistance looks like on these two output ones. It's kind of difficult. 0.25. That's kind of a short right there. Yeah, so we got a short on that one. And these should be separate too, because there's two power management ICs, one for each USB output, because this is a quick charge module. So it'll support 12 volts at, I think when I tested it, it went almost up to 2 amps. So it's actually pretty powerful. And I think the outputs of them are gonna be separated. So that one on the this top side is shorted. Let's see if this one is also shorted. It's very fiddly. We'll go that way. This one is not shorted. Let's see what the resistance is. 20 something megohm. Almost 1 megohm. So this one is bad. So if we trace this back, this track out here is positive. It's on that side. This one goes directly to the diode for negative. We know the diode is not bad. Let's just remove that capacitor because there's a surface mount one, ceramic one underneath there. Let's just see what that one looks like. Should just fall right out. Come on. Maybe I should have added some. There we go. So, just want to clean that up a little bit. All right. Positive is going to the inductor. I'm going to guess that's the output of the inductor. A little surface mount capacitor. It's got a little bit of a spike on it, but that shouldn't have really done anything. Let me grab my tester real quick, and then let's give this capacitor a quick test. Because I don't really want to use a multimeter because it's so fiddly trying to grab that when I've got a little portable tester right here. So we're just going to stick the capacitor in my little tester here. Clamp it down. They're both on there. Let's see. I'll turn the light off. See if that helps. Testing. It is a capacitor, 230 microfarads. ESR is really good, so that one is perfectly fine. So 230 microfarads. Let's see what it says on here. 220. So yeah, it's still within spec. Do we still have a shorts? Let's just put this back to beep mode. Just use the holes in the back. Well, it should be a little bit easier, and actually clean those up. A little better. I kind of want to clear them though. Nope, still have a short. Sorry about that. So the only other thing on here is this capacitor, the surface mount one, or the power outputs. So 104. This side, towards the right side, is going to be the negative. Left side is the positive, which goes to the inductor. I wonder if it's going to be this chip. Let's just test, because this capacitor right here is going to be the capacitor used for the actual power rail of the IP chip. Let's just test this. And no beeping. So that is perfectly fine. All right, let's take off this little surface mount capacitor here. I don't really know what it's going to be, but if removing it gets rid of that short, I'll just find something of the same size. It's probably like 100 microfarads or something. Just some filtering capacitor for noise suppression and whatnot. So now let's see if we've got a short still. I'm just gonna, since it's negative anyways, I'm just gonna grab one of that. Yeah, actually, right there. Touching positive, negative, still shorted. I wonder if it is the USB ports. It's a positive going to that track, which goes down to here. Okay, sorry about that. I could hear my girlfriend out there, and she's kind of loud. So, anyways, just looking at this again. So I'm suspecting it might be this chip, the IP chip. Real quick though, I just want to test the input capacitor right there and see what that's coming out to. I'm just gonna go right on the little terminals here. 2 kilo ohms. So that's probably fine. That's not a short or anything. Get closer to the capacitor. Oh. Hold on. Come back. It looked like it said like 1 mega or 1 ohm or something. Open loop. Do we think it's going to be the input capacitor? That's very strange. This is the input capacitor for the main power in. Just real quick, look at this. It is 100 microfarads, 35 volts. Positive just comes in on this side, comes down to this side of the capacitor. Negative, nothing on this side, and it just goes straight from this diode, so negative input. The capacitor here is positive. Through this other capacitor, a line going over the IP chip on this side, and looks like there's another line on this side. Is this one shorted? I don't think this one. So that is 30, 50 mega ohms that is charging the capacitor. Now I'm wondering, is it the input supply? It's just weird that one output, the output of one of the chips is shorted, but not both of them. So if I test this one again, this is the output. Pretty solid connection on there, pushing down pretty hard, 8 mega ohms. So yeah, the output on this side is not shorted, but this one is. That is just negative. I think I might take this capacitor off, the input one, and let's just see how that looks. Kind of fiddly because it's so small. There we go. And this is a little bit too small to fit in my, the contacts won't fit down in there. So do I have some short wire? Just digging in my drawer here and looking for some scrap wire. want something somewhat short. And that'll work. Let's just solder these in onto them. Oh, this is very tiny. There we go. And then this one. Oh, come on. Very hot iron, close to my fingers. Good enough. Just clean that off there. All right, cool. Now let's shove this down in here. If it fits, it does. If it fits, us hits. This is 100 microfarads, 35 volts. Yep, 100 microfarads. ESR is 0.31 ohms, so it's not that. Did it get rid of the issue it was having on the input? Nope. 0.2. So the only other thing I'm thinking it could be is the ceramic capacitor. So let's take that one off too. There we go, it's on my desk somewhere. Now, let's give that just another quick test. This probably seems really boring, and I'm sorry. Oh, you know what I just realized? Why I could have had a misreading using the terminal connections is because of that diode in place. So, if I can get a good spot. Nope, still shorted. So the only other thing I'm thinking it could be, because there's no short on this side of the board on the output, but there's a short on this side of the board on the output. It could just be the chip. So let's take that off. At this point, I'm not really too worried about salvaging this. I have more. Just get some more solder and flood it on there. Flood it on to those pins. I've got some solder somewhere up here. I've got more of these modules. I mean, I just showed you one right at the beginning of the video. So, we'll just do a little flood soldering. And then just try and get it to fall right off. I would use hot air, but it's kind of hot. Actually, I might have to, because I have a feeling there's probably a ground plane underneath this chip. That's gonna mess up things. Okay, let me just grab some helping hands. Hopefully you can see all this. It's kind of small. I guess I could zoom in so you can see a little bit better what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna grab my hot air. I might move the camera. Okay, sorry, that took a little bit. My hot air gun was not seating onto the little handle properly. And to make sure that these aren't touching, there we go. This side too, looks fine. Now let's see if it gets rid of that short. I'm gonna guess maybe. Guess maybe. It's not very definitive. Just moving. Let me rotate this lead so it grabs on like that. Much more secure. And you can't see the multimeter, but I'll just I'll say what it is as the reading starts to come through. Still 22 ohms, or 0.22 ohms. So it's not that. You think it's this one? I doubt it, but unless it's this chip, there's not much else to go off of for this board. I mean, there's just two inductors, a capacitor, the diode. The diode tested out fine, at least I thought it did. Okay, let's just take this capacitor off too. Okay, so that one's out. Just do a test on this one as well. It's a little bit warm, a little bit too much heat. It was kind of struggling there. Mm, 248 microfarads, 0.14 ohms ESR, so still perfectly fine. Only thing left over here is the filter capacitor and the output of the IP65 something something chip. So that one's off. I'm gonna guess just the chip. It's the chip that shorted. Point 30 something 20, yeah, dead short still. And then we'll just take this last chip off. Okay, there we go. Just waiting for the fan, and so that's the other chip off. Open the loop. So that short is gone. It was that chip. Now, trying to think. I could try and buy another one of these chips, solder back into place, and fix it. Trying to think. Do I have one of these? I'll look later, but I think I'm just gonna call it here. I'll figure out. My bad, everyone. I feel like a cop out just saying like, oh, you know, that was what it was because the ohms reading said it was. I put it all back together and connected it up, and you can see LEDs glowing. This thing is working again. And I've got a little load tester on the side. Don't know which one it's going to be. Maybe this. Nope. This. So power output, 5 volts, 2.7, 3 amps, over 3 amps. Just like I said, it's a really good little module. So, and it was cheap, $3. So there you go. I just wanted to show you that it was working. It was that power management IC. I'm gonna go ahead and check AliExpress, try and find one. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video. All I have to do is solder in place, and like that's really nothing. So it's probably kind of boring, but that's what it was. Power chip went out and just dead short. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.